if someone had asked me like what's wrong or what happened or how do you feel, I could paint them a picture better than I could tell them in words. So I have been using my creative practices in my artwork to dissolve fear blockages, to work through traumatic experiences, to work through grief, to release repressed emotions, and to literally rewire my mindset and reprogram my limiting beliefs, dissolve limiting beliefs, and I want to show you how to do the same thing. By the end of this video, you are going to learn how to use your creative practice, your artwork, in ways that act as medicine for your mindset, in ways that enhance your manifestations, in ways that enhance your healing journey, and just your life in general. Let's get into it. I just wanted to cleanse the space a little bit before we get started. This is Mother Earth. She is cleansing our space with grounding, cyclical, creative, abundant energy, feminine as well. Okay. So, as artists, as creatives, we are already doing something deeply spiritual when we partake in our medium of choice. When we are creating, we're already channeling energy. We're already working with setting intentions, with bringing a vision to life. We're already like forging frequencies essentially, and I feel like with a bit of intention, you can turn your practice into a portal for healing old wounds, releasing repressed emotions, making room for new beliefs, new experiences, new perspectives, as medicine for your mindset. You can use it to reprogram those limiting beliefs and those wounds. So really, art is a portal into abundance, and I want to show you some specific ways you can use it to heal and to work through heavy things, because that's something we struggle with a lot as creatives. You know, you can use your art practice to work through those mental blockages that you are dealing with as a creative. If you deal with imposter syndrome, not feeling like your work is good enough, not comparing yourself to others, if you're working through trauma, if you're dealing with PTSD, if you're dealing with burnout, struggling with the 9-to-5 schedule that has been forced upon us, like, it can help you work through anything that you're going through. You might as well channel that into your work, you know what I'm saying? We're going to cover 3 different things, 3 different outlines of ways you can use artwork as shadow work, essentially. So those 3 ways we will be covering is 1, facing your shadow, 2, reclaiming your narrative or rewriting your story, and 3, illustrating your future or your internal landscape. We'll get into the first one now. So, facing your shadow. So this is a practice I like to do. There's really no wrong or right way to do all of these. I'm just giving you direction, not really instructions. You can use any medium, writing, singing, drawing. I've done all of it. But I'll give you some examples to help inspire you and guide you. But the starting point of healing is not jumping to getting over it, not jumping to moving past it. The first step is grieving and just getting ugly, crying, just feeling through it. There is no way around this part of the journey, okay? And this inevitable part of the journey is very hard. We have to sit with our pain before we can release it. We have to sit with our feelings, work through them. Otherwise, they become repressed emotions. They become energetic blockages, and they create imbalances in us and draw energy from our manifestations and abundance and mindset. And yeah, so this is a very important part of the journey, and don't skip this step. But the good thing is that this practice can help lift some of that weight off of you. Your piece can carry some of that weight. Have you ever looked at an art piece or listened to a song or read a poem and felt seen by it? The power of taking an internal emotion and externalizing it is very powerful. It's very healing, and you know, you've experienced it before when you listen to a song and it really resonated with you, when you've watched a video, a music video, a movie, and it really struck something in your heart. The power of externalizing an internal emotion It makes it less isolating, and you can turn that emotion into something beautiful. Make use of that energy, you know? I hope that makes sense. The canvas or whatever you choose to use can hold the weight, some of the weight that you shouldn't have to carry alone, but sometimes we do, you know? Therapy is expensive, so I'm giving y'all alternatives, okay? We gotta work with what we got. But yeah, channel your pain before you rush to get over it. The canvas can hold some of the weight that you shouldn't have to carry by yourself. And healing starts with witnessing your wounds, with seeing your wounds, with acknowledging your wounds and your pain, as ugly as they are, not trying to beautify it, not trying to sugarcoat it, just being real and raw for a second. We are not meant to live in our pain. We can feel our pain, but we are not meant to live in it. And this prevents living in it, because when you suppress it, it stays with you longer than necessary, and you are living in it, no matter how, because you continue to run from it or suppress it. And notice how it doesn't go anywhere when you do that. But this way, you can dissolve it, you can transmute it, essentially. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so think of something, a wound that is deep inside of you. Something that maybe has been buried, something that is still, you still wince when you think about it, something that is still tender, something that is still haunting you maybe. Maybe something that you feel is holding you back, and give it a body so that it can leave yours, if that makes sense. I'm going to give you some examples. Okay, I have a handful of examples here. I've been through a couple of periods of depression, and I had a really bad one in like freshman year of high school. This was around the pandemic. I was very isolated, and I also was, I don't know what you can say on YouTube, but I was assaulted, or SA. And I created all these pieces kind of channeling how I felt when that happened. And I was dealing with, you know, I just didn't feel good about myself either. It was the pandemic. I was isolated. I didn't have many friends. Like, my first year of college was not going how I thought how I wanted college to go. I was just dealing with a lot of, you know, pain, and I was trying to cope with it using addictions and stuff. So I was going through a lot. And at that time, like, I had very real issues. So it was like, there's no rushing past this pain. I was just in pain, and I had to work through it. And I used these art pieces to channel that pain, to hold some of that pain for me. And they really helped to get me through that period of time. These are from 2020. This is one of my favorite ones. I used a picture that I took in the mirror, so a mirror selfie. And that's a little symbolic to me, because it is referring to issues I had with my self-worth. I was comparing myself to other women online on my phone, women I was seeing on my phone, and I don't know, it talks about body dysmorphia essentially, which is why my hand is all warped and I'm all confused. And there's an eye here. I don't know if you can see it, but there's an eye in her throat, because this was shortly after the assault, and I hadn't realized what happened to me yet, but I didn't speak up for myself when it happened. And so, I don't know, I put something in the throat I was channeling at the time. This talks about intuition, and I hope you can see like the symbolism and the things I used. I drew myself so that because it's my experience, my emotions, and it helped me feel seen. It helped heal me to become, you know, the subject of a piece or something, because I was just feeling so invisible in real life. So these self-portraits really helped me with that. If you're interested in using self-portraiture to rewrite your self-concept and to reprogram your subconscious, I have a video about that. And I'll link it below. But yeah, that's one piece. This is another piece I made after the assault. And I have a collection of a couple of blue portraits where I made a lot of blue portraits throughout this period of sadness, throughout this period of pain. And I would always put this crown on top of my head, or different versions of it. I would put this crown on top of my head. I have it tattooed here on my arm. Just because, as a way to make myself feel better, I guess, as a way to never forget, you know, who I am, despite all the things that I felt like my circumstances were taken away from me, all of the things that were being pushed upon me, not to forget that, you know, I'm still divine. So I used to put this crown above my head, even in sad depictions. But yeah, this is something I made after the assault too, from 2020. And you can see she's in a bath. There's little broken hearts and stuff. She's missing her heart. This is a playful piece, but it also is sad too. And I put her in a bath because it's like, I remember after it happened, I just felt like I couldn't get clean, I guess. And I felt like a piece of me was like taken from me. So yeah, that helped me. I'm glad I was able to turn, you know, I felt seen. These pieces helped me feel seen because I created something that really encaptured what I was feeling. And I feel like, at least for me, it's hard for me to, if someone had asked me like what's wrong or what happened or how do you feel, I could paint them a picture better than I could tell them in words. So I feel like this really captured what I was trying to say, captured what I was feeling, and it helps me feel seen, like, yes, like this is it. And it helped me process it. Here's another one. So this is another piece. I kind of just started drawing with a lot of these. No plan, like, well, the mirror one was a plan, but the other ones I just started drawing and creating, and let things just come out onto the page. So this has some, you know, weird stuff. Eyes, let me in, little girl, like just weird things that were said to me at the time. Cover your eyes. And yeah, this is a little blob girl. That's kind of how I felt. Like, I don't know how to explain, like, what is a body, you know what I'm saying? But yeah. This is also from 2020. This was after the assault, like, just feeling detached from my body, like, you know, objectified, like, the hand holding her by the hair, like, just weird. Sorry, not to get graphic, but yeah. Oh, the butterfly in the jar, trapped in the jar, like, the bath, the water, the hand, symbolism. Lots of symbolism. Here's some more pieces. I'm just going to show you guys through a couple of pieces really quick. You see I use like words. It might be backwards for you, but this says fear, upwards, resist, adapt, let go, remember. I was just channeling the confusion I was feeling. You can use words, anything. There's no wrong way to do it. These are, oh, here's one more from 2020. This one's a little more recent. This one might be like 2022 or 2021. 2022 probably. More blueness. No wrong answer. This is from that period of sadness. I used to draw a lot of like meandering lines and like smoke because I used to smoke a lot to try and cope. And here's the most recent piece. I think this is from 2024. But yeah, you see loser, loner, lover, hush. I was in another period of sadness and these ghosts hovering around her mind, like that's really how I felt. And so yeah, these just really helped me turn my pain into something beautiful and help me not run away from your pain. You do not have to run away from your pain because it's going to follow you. Don't even do that. Sit with it, work through it, hold its hand, and then you'll be able to transmute it. Use it to your advantage. So yeah, I hope that made sense. So those are some pieces where I was acknowledging, sitting with, and facing my shadow. And I hope that inspired you in some ways that you can too. If this is really resonating with you and you would like a more in-depth guide as to how to use your art practice, how to use art to work through trauma as shadow work, to dissolve doubt and fear and comparison blockages and all the things we deal with as humans, as creatives, I have an ebook. It's called Artist Alchemy, and it goes into everything, and it's beautifully illustrated as well, and it covers just how to use your practice as a tool for healing, to prime your mind and your mindset to become the person who can sustain and hold your dream life. That will be linked below if you feel called. Now, reclaiming your narrative, or rewriting your story. Now, this is where the transmutation comes in, okay? We've sat with our feelings, okay? We've acknowledged them, but now it's time to begin to pull ourselves out of it, to begin to transform that energy into something useful. As I said before, you know, we don't want to live in our pain. We want to acknowledge it. We want to feel it. We don't deserve to live in our pain. We don't have to carry these painful experiences with us throughout our life. So in this section, this is really the healing work. You can tell your story. You can paint your trauma or your feelings or whatever you feel is holding you back. You can beautify it, or you can keep it beautifully honest. You can rewrite your story in the way that you want And the beautiful thing about this is because for me, I would use this to heal from situations where I feel powerless. You have complete control over your piece. You can decide how much you want to reveal, how much you want to omit. You decide the angle, the framing, like how you want your story to be told, how you want your story to be honored. And this is beautiful for, like, you know, healing shame wounds. Like, you can beautify something that makes you feel, an experience that made you feel shameful, acknowledge it. Something you've been hiding, you can create it. Like, there's endless possibilities, because the way to heal shame is not to continue hiding. It's exposure, gentle exposure. Write out one sentence that a past version of you needed to hear, and turn that into art, channel that into a piece. Let me give you some examples. One way that I did this was I created a piece, and it's called Overgrowth, and it talks about some of the things I dealt with in childhood. I witnessed a lot of people struggling with addiction and depression, and I dealt with some parental neglect, and in my early 20s I had some like dental stuff I had to deal with. It was a very isolating experience. Anyways, I created the piece around this experience that generated a source of shame for me because I felt like I couldn't tell people about it. So I made a piece about it, and it was the centerpiece of my senior thesis, and I ended up selling it, okay, and I made a good couple of hundred off of it. But I'll share that here. And it has my childhood home above my head, and some motifs from childhood, and a tooth to represent the dental issues. And I ended up making money off of that piece, and it ended up being the centerpiece of a show. So I hope that sparks some ideas for you. Let me show you some more examples. So for that prompt I just gave you, this is something I needed to hear. Choose peace. I needed to hear this because my brain was always choosing violence on a random Tuesday morning, just randomly spitting some meanness at me, and I don't even know why. So I needed this, like, choose peace. Like, you're not going to think your way to a solution, just let go. This is what I needed. Choose peace. This is a very similar archetype. That was from a few years ago. Look at how she has evolved. Let me show you her. There we go. Now, there is no wrong way to do this, okay? This, I think, is some type of spirit guide. Like, this flower face girl shows up in a lot of my work. Like, I even have some, see? These are inspired by the Wiz, the Poison Poppies, but I think I accidentally channeled something. I think for me, she represents embracing your sensuality. Something I need to hear right now is just to embrace fun, to chill, to lay back, to embrace who I am, embrace femininity, true, natural, non-conformed, non-confined femininity. The piece I showed you was a really good example of reclaiming your narrative and telling your story. Now, illustrating your future, paint a portal into your future. You could do this the way I do this. Okay, so the key thing for this is to set an intention. Is this the end of an era or the birth of one? Illustrate the internal landscape that you are calling in. Are you calling in calm? Are you calling in play? Are you calling in riches? And you can use this piece as like a visual anchor of what you're working towards, a vision board, a daily sigil. And I'll show you a couple of examples. So this is my piece. It's called The Birth of FAERIE. I made it at a time when I was struggling with setting boundaries, struggling with embracing the dark parts of my story, and that's what she represents, divine duality. I have another evolved version of her that I made this year. So these are like 3 years apart. So version 1 and version 2. I told y'all I've been doing this for years, so I have tons of evidence. This is her now, full and in color. And yeah, the future I'm illustrating with this, I think this is another spirit guide on accident. I'll be making a video on how I do spirit guide work and energy work with art, but that's another topic. Anyways, the future I'm calling in is, you know, embracing myself in full, my highest self, you know, because my stage name is FAERIE, and FAERIE represents my highest self, my most confident self, me and my highest good, you know, opportunities that align with my highest good. I have this quote on my page that is like, my goal in life is to return to who I was before I internalize my trauma, and to who I will be once I learn to alchemize that trauma. So that's what these pieces represent, and that's what I'm calling in with them. This piece was made earlier in my life, a while back, when I was calling in some romance, a new romantic experience, and that I did in fact call that in. But that was a couple of years ago. And then this piece I made a few months ago. This might have been during the fall, where I wanted to call in a sensual, playful, powerful summer, a soulful summer, a warm summer, a celestial summer. So that's the energy I'm calling in. This might be another spirit guide. I don't know. But yeah, those are some examples. But yeah, sketch the energy of your healed self, or a healed life, colors, symbols, posture, and you can name the piece after the feeling that you want on repeat. For me, it is fulfillment. For me, it's sensuality, fun, play, abundance. So I try and channel that into some of my pieces. And those are the ways that you can use your art practice to clear shame and fear and comparison and all of that. When you clear space for that, you make room for blessings, make room for your new self-concept, make room for your bigness. Now, I have used my artwork to do this identity work and to, you know, work through things, clear up energetic space, rewrite my self-concept, and I have called in, you know, plenty of experiences, travel invites, paid. I attracted my first paid singing gig recently, wish me luck. You know, gallery opportunities. Somebody reached out to me about being in a show, channel growth. Thank you. We're almost at 3K. And, you know, abundance in general. Like, everything has accelerated for me after I committed to inner work. And this inner artwork really, really helped ground and externalize my practice, externalize my dreams. So if that interests you and you're ready to stop letting fear, shame, and comparison and pessimism and unresolved trauma and repressed emotions manage your life, and you're ready to magnetize your next timeline, you're ready to become the person who can hold, sustain, and attract your dream life and your dream opportunities effortlessly, my ebook is listed below. It's filled with, you know, prompts and practices and mindset medicine and mindset shifts and insights. It's full of everything. Similar to this video, it goes into deep depth on several things. I also have a free guide below that you can get, a free healing guide below as well. I got resources for everyone. All the arts in this video. I do have an Etsy shop, but I also have a Fairy Circle email list. And it's for seasonal and cyclical oracle art guidance drops. So when I channel pieces like this and they come with a message, I share that message with the collective, you know, and it helps us along our journey. And if you want to keep growing together and grow with me and just get a little piece of pretty artwork and an inspiring motivational message or divine confirmation delivered to your email, you know, every now and again, like equinoxes and solstices and full and new moons, like think like that, okay? Magical fairy coven vibes, then that will also be listed below. That's just all. Everything is linked below. I hope this video was helpful. And I didn't even introduce myself. Hello, my name is FAERIE. I am your newly favorite, hopefully, fairy god guide, fairy god friend, here to help you start managing your fears and stop letting your fears manage your manifestations. And we do this through artwork, inner work, spell work, magic, fantasy, fae frequencies. Okay, I hope that made sense. That's all. This video is getting long. I don't want to have to edit a 40-minute video, but it looks like I'm gonna have to. Anyways, that's all. Love you. Bye.